Hey guys, welcome back. This is Pruett and Pressley, and we're back with our first episode of this new season. You can go back and you can actually hit the subscribe button. You can go back and watch our very first episode, which is episode 0. It's from the 2024 season, but it's kind of cool to look back on and see how the teams were doing. But I'm Blaine Pruett. I'm one of your co-hosts,
And the other host, me being Cole Presley.
and
And we're here to talk about the free agency moves and just the offseason. And a welcome back.
so the first thing that we're actually going to talk about today is the overall biggest free agency moves. So, Cole, I'm gonna let you start us off with a couple of yours, and I'll kind of add in my own comments as we
Yeah.
go.
So I have like three guys here. One being Trey Hendrickson. Last season he was fully healthy. He was a sack leader, Reese number two. Ravens get a certified edge rusher, which in that division you'll need. And then I got another guy, Devin Lloyd for the Panthers. He is probably the best ball hawk linebacker in the league. Career high 5 interceptions, 81 tackles. He's anywhere. They just got themselves another Luke Kuechly for the team, and like that's what they're looking for. And then another one I have is Jalen Phillips and Michael Pittman. Steelers needed to go get a receiver. They got their guy. Pittman's like he's a veteran now, but he gets his job
A
done.
linked receiver,
He's
I
another
think
guy for Rodgers.
he's gonna look good across from DK Metcalf. I think it was a good
Yes, and that's perfect. Two
right.
big guys. You're gonna have to have big corners to cover both. And then Jalen Phillips, sure he was overpaid, but he was still top five in pressures as an edge rusher. If he's healthy, he's good.
So
Now, Blaine, what is yours?
I added to that list Travis Etienne to the Saints, a huge running back move there. You had Alvin Kamara kind of hanging. You don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
So adding Travis Etienne gives them a solidified running back one, and that's going to help. I also put safety Sidney Brown to the Falcons from the Eagles in a trade. He's been mostly a backup in his career, but I'm looking for that to be a big move. He's a former third round pick, went to the Falcons for basically pennies. And he's had great production in that limited time on the field. Also put Kyler Murray. That Kyler Murray doesn't just bring competition to the Vikings, like I think a lot of people are thinking. I think he is the quarterback one there. I think JJ McCarthy's going to be put on the bench for a little bit. It's kind of time. He was terrible last season, and this gives him a legitimate quarterback one, and he's going to be playing for just 1.3 million this season. That's a shattering move for a team.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold type move to me. You're getting him for pennies, and he's going to go out there and give you good production at quarterback. Also put Bills Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb's been a big name in this league, just has not did that much in the time he's been in the NFL. So hopefully he can change a little something with the Bills in that dominant defense. The Chiefs re-signed Travis Kelsey. That's of course a huge move, but something we all expected. It's
Yeah.
either retirement or the Chiefs for Kelsey at this point in his career. Mike Evans to the 49ers is a huge move that I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about. Mike Evans was a one-team man. Mike Evans should have never been allowed to leave the Buccaneers. And he goes to the 49ers, a team that needed that star wide receiver one, and he's going to do great things there with Brock Purdy. Look for them to actually be competitive this season. And then Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, Super Bowl MVP, moving on from the team that he just won a Super Bowl with to go to a different dynasty who's won 3 Super Bowls, looking to get back there. He's going to go there and be the running back one. I look to see great things with him. And I also put on here Aaron Rodgers re-signing with the Steelers, a big move for the Steelers, getting their 4-time MVP quarterback and Super Bowl winning quarterback, reuniting with Mike McCarthy. I look for him to do big things there with the Steelers.
Yeah. So now we're gonna go to that's the biggest free agency moves. We're gonna hit the biggest departures, like the biggest losses to the team. And then so honestly, Dolphins have one of the worst off seasons. You sell how you get Malik Willis, sure, great. But who's he gonna throw to? You let Tyreek go. He already had issues. You let Waddle leaves, goes to the Broncos for pennies. Nothing. You let him go. You haven't thrown to guys like Jalen Tolbert, a wide receiver 3 to 4 on the Cowboys, and they got Malik Washington. Sure, he's okay, but he's got nowhere to throw. You got nothing. Jonathan Allen to the Bengals. That's a huge loss for the Commanders up front. They have nobody up front. They were already not good against the run last year. Imagine what it's going to look like now. And then now you got the Chiefs losing Trent McDuffie to the Rams. He was like that. That was the key part of their defense was McDuffie walking up your favorite receiver. And now he's on the Rams, and that helps the Rams huge, and that could probably get them over the hump over the Hawks and the Niners in the division now. Those are huge losses. Another one, Dexter Lawrence to the Bengals. Sure you get first round pick out of it, but you're losing a great defensive lineman. And the last one I have DJ Moore to the Bills. Bears, they have a Dunzy, they have Loveland, great weapons for Williams, but he's still young. He still needs more guys. But this is going to help the Bills because it's a yak receiver, yards after catch, and that's what DJ Moore does. So it's a huge loss from the Bears in the like yardage department, but we'll see what they can do.
All right, so I put Kenneth Walker leaving the Seahawks. I just touched on that a little bit. You're losing a Super Bowl MVP. Usually, a Super Bowl MVP doesn't walk away until years later, like we seen with Cooper Kupp leaving the Rams. He waited 3 or 4 years. Rams keep those people around because that's kind of the face. Once you win Super Bowl MVP, you're the face of that team for a little bit. But instead, Kenneth Walker's last game with the Seahawks is that game that he became the Super Bowl MVP. I think that's terrible for that team, and I just didn't see anything that replaced him. You have Chenault, but do you have anybody? They didn't add anybody else unless you can think of somebody that they added. So I don't like the whole move. I think you should have paid your guy. You lost so many other key pieces on defense, and on offense, and you don't replace any of them really. So I look for a step back there. Kyler Murray for the Cardinals. I think a lot of people have just took what Kyler Murray was these past 2 years and talked about that like that was finality. We seen what Kyler Murray did in 2020, 2021. Kyler Murray was a beast. He was your
Yeah.
franchise guy, and you're letting him go for Jacoby Brissett, who's not even showing up to camp now.
Yeah.
Um,
Heck, Kyler was an MVP candidate in 2021 with the first 8 weeks. They were 8-0.
exactly, yeah. So I don't understand the why Cardinal fans are not upset by that, but that's a huge loss for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is that guy, and Kyler Murray can be that guy for the Vikings now.
And
He's
I
got
mean,
Justin
yeah,
Herbert.
with Kevin O'Connell, we know he's a
Yeah.
quarterback whisperer. You get Jefferson there, you got Jawan Jennings, you got Jordan Addison, you got all the weapons you
I
need.
think Kyler Murray is the best quarterback that the Vikings have had in a long time. I
Yeah,
think he's better than Kirk Cousins was. I think he's better than the Vikings Sam Darnold. I can't say he's better than the Seahawks Sam Darnold, but Vikings Sam Darnold he's definitely better than, and he's 100% better than JJ McCarthy. That will not be a
yeah,
fight.
yeah,
And then as my last one, I put the Bucks losing Mike Evans. Mike Evans has been the face of that team, minus the couple years Brady was there. Mike Evans has been the face of that team for 10 plus years.
yeah.
You let a guy like that walk away, unless he was causing issues, and Mike Evans was not
And
causing
1,000 yards every year in his career, besides this year when he's
that.
hurt, but he gets hurt every year and still gets it. I mean,
You
that's a
should
legend.
pay the guy. Now, I don't think like in the same situation as the other two where they don't have a guy to replace him. They do have a good wide receiver core,
Yeah,
but
they do.
you keep Mike Evans around. Mike Evans is a name you don't let leave the
Right.
building.
Yeah,
Um,
you can't.
yeah. So I believe next we have the best offseason winners, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
And I think I have two winners here. I'm gonna start with the Eagles. Their defense was good. I mean, when you think of like the Eagles in 22, that's a good defense. Made Super Bowl that year. It was obviously good. They had Bradbury on one side, Slay on the other. Both those guys leave. Their defense starts going down here hill. Their pass defense just giving up too many yards. They go out and get a guy who just won a Super Bowl, Tariq Woolen. He is 6'3". He guards any tall receiver. You just can't get the ball over him. That's a huge pickup for that defense, and that's exactly what they need. They lost Phillips, but you get a guy in Woolen who's better than Phillips, obviously, and that's gonna help the defense. My other winner I have being the Titans because they went out and got weapons for Ward. Not besides Cornell Tate in the draft, you get Wando Robinson last year, 1,000 yards in the slot with the Giants. Imagine when the Titans offense, revamped coaching staff, which that's a big win too. A revamped coaching staff. You get Ward weapons. They get some alignment in there, some names, and you got to look out for teams like that. In that division too, you just never know.
Mhm. So I added to that list with the Raiders. Raiders had a huge offseason. They grabbed their franchise quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, and with that number one pick, and they had a great, amazing draft, which we're going to talk about in a later video. Um, but they added so many people. It was just name after name we've seen every single day. They get to keep Max Crosby, who they was going to trade for first round picks. You get to keep him. That's a huge addition. It seems like he's all in on the Raiders. So I think that's exciting if you're a Raiders fan. You have Kirk Cousins, who I think is a good backup, and he'll be somebody that teaches Fernando some things. But I think it's an exciting time to be a Raiders fan. It's not what we've seen the past, as long as I've been alive. The Raiders have been a rough team to watch. They had that one playoff run in 2021 where they got beat by the Bengals.
Bengals.
Not anything exciting. So I think this is the most exciting time to be a Raiders fan in a long time. And then I also added the Rams. Rams, have had great years. You don't expect to see them have a really good offseason, but they did. Trading for McDuffie, I think a guy that they probably didn't think they was going to be able to get. Trading that first round pick for him. And that was a key move this offseason. I think it's one of the biggest moves this offseason. So adding him just adds new depth to the secondary, which I think was what killed them this playoff run. And I'll talk about them a little bit more in just a little bit. But the Rams and the Raiders, I think, had amazing off seasons. And I think that's a good list there. So the biggest losers, who is your biggest losers, Cole?
Two AFC South teams here. I have the Jags and the Colts. I'll start with the Jags because I have more about the Colts. Jags, you lose ETN, two Pro Bowlers, ETN and Devin Lloyd. ETN was your offense this year. I mean, if Trevor Lawrence couldn't get a pass game going, you had ETN in the run game. Sure, you got a decent backup and Tootin to have, but ETN was your guy. He's played his whole career with Lawrence, so there goes that chemistry. And then Devin Lloyd, like I said, great off the ball linebacker, great ball hawk. And you lose that in the defense, and your defense has no identity now. And I'm gonna get the next one's the Colts. You pay Daniel Jones $80 million. Honestly, sure, he looked good, but has he proved he's won one playoff game? Has he proved he can do anything? He had the Giants, didn't do anything. Colts, nothing. Stays hurt, and he's okay. And okay, what gets me is the Alec Pierce. Great guy, but he's one dimensional. He's a deep threat. That's all he can do. He's a wide receiver 2 or 3. You pay him 120 million.
That's
What
ridiculous.
has he done to deserve that money?
That's terrible.
Nothing. Nothing. And they had no first round picks in the draft because of the Sauce trade. Sauce is fine, not as good as he was his rookie year, but losing a first round pick, and the Jets fleeced him, in my opinion. But I think the Colts lost this offseason big
And
time.
and they trade Michael Pittman. So now
Yeah,
who's
lost
what
Pickett.
here?
I mean, Pierce has to step up into the one role, and he's not played that role at all in his career. They have Downs, he's good, but that's a slot guy.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor, this is his team.
Yep. So I put the Seahawks as my biggest loser. Super Bowl champions. They lose their MVP, their top corner, and several other key pieces. Um,
Several on that defense.
they had a rough off season. And I think that Seahawks fans have not necessarily realized it yet because they're so hyped up off of that Super Bowl win, that they're not realizing that this next season could be rough for the Seahawks. If Sam Darnold doesn't get going and they don't find some ways to win, it's going to be a rough
Yeah.
year.
And that division doesn't help at
Yeah,
all.
exactly. And then the Lions did not have a terrible offseason, but they didn't make those star-studded moves we expected. Past year that they had, I expected them to make some big moves to get back up there, get back in the NFC Championship game, get back up there to trying to compete for the Super Bowl, but they just didn't. They signed a backup running back, excuse me, and that's about it. We didn't see any huge moves for them. I expected more from the Lions this offseason. So I am a little bit, upset that we didn't see that there, but I do think the Seahawks are the biggest losers this offseason. So next up, we're going to talk about our own teams. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to talk first?
You can hit the Steelers first.
All right. So the Steelers had what I would say a great offseason. They made huge moves, re-signing starting quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers looked amazing last season. He looked kind of getting back to that. It was not Jets, Aaron Rodgers. We got Green Bay Aaron Rodgers. And good production, I believe 25-ish touchdowns. Just good production all around from Aaron Rodgers last season. I think they win that playoff game had it not been for the line. I don't think Aaron Rodgers looked good in that playoff game until the line broke down. So that was a great move. Trading for Michael Pittman, they get that second wide receiver they've been looking for, pairing him with DK Metcalf. They did lose Calvin Austin, but I think they did a good job in the draft, and we'll talk about that in a later video. I think they did a good job in the draft addressing that. They added Jamal Dean, Rico Dowdle, Jaquan Brisker, Sebastian Joseph Day, Asante Samuel Jr., and gave Chris Boswell, their kicker, a massive extension, making him the highest paid kicker in football. And of course, he's won several games over the past 4 years
Yes.
just by himself, just kicking field goals. So that's a huge move. If you're the Steelers, you have to keep him around when you have a kicker that's winning games without even scoring offensive points. Um, so overall, I think the Steelers are going to look to remain competitive this year. New head coach Mike McCarthy, no more Mike Tomlin. They're going to remain competitive. I think the offense is going to look a lot better under McCarthy, and I think the defense is going to look like it always has. That tough defense,
Yep.
like Cam Hayward, all those guys. You actually have a tough secondary now. Jaquan Brisker, Jamal Dean, Joey Porter Jr. Just massive names all around. Jalen Ramsey.
Ramsey had a great year.
So I'm looking for a better year from Rodgers this year, even than he had last year. I'm looking for him to continue into that. Now he's got a good team for a second year in a row. It's not like the Jets. It's going to be more normal this year. And then I'm looking for them to get a wild card win this season. I think we should have got one last year, but I think this is the year. If you don't get one this year, it's time to blow it all up and figure something out.
Yeah. Taking it away here, the Panthers. I mean, honestly, last year, not a crazy offseason. I thought it'd be good, but this is probably one of the years. It's been a while. I've been happy in the offseason. We coming off a playoff game that we should have won. We had it. Defense blew it. So Dan Morgan, great general manager we've had since he came in, went out and knew we needed defense, went out and got it. But he got guys like Jalen Phillips, who was top five in pressures. Overpay, sure, but we had the money and we needed to get it done. Carolina has to pay guys a lot of money to come to Carolina. That's just a thing. Devin Lloyd, I've hit it 2 times already. Just a great signing. And then just little things. We made Brad Isaac coordinator and taking that role away from Canales and just let him coach, which could be huge. And then picking up a fifth year on a guy like Bryce Young, who proved this year that maybe he has it in him. But they're thinking about extending him after this year if he does it. Lost Andy Dalton, but replaced him with Kenny Pickett, a younger, more mobile quarterback. Because Bryce doesn't need the mentor anymore. He knows what to do. You get John Mechie, a guy who, had cancer when he came in the league. Great at Bama with Bryce Young. That's chemistry there. You get Luke Fortner, center. He'll be a backup. And you just get some random backups on the O line. That's going to help. Luke Forsythe and what's the guy from the Packers? They got a tackle. It's just huge. And then you get Sam Martin, great punter for us from the Bills. He'll be good. You extend guys, Michael Jackson, J.C. Horn, great shutdown corners all year. And you've seen what they could do all year. Michael Jackson, pick six against the Rams past year. And then in the playoff game, he had a pick. Horn, even you shouldn't throw on him. They did. He ended up with six or no 6-7 jokes, 6 or 7 picks because he knows what he's doing. Extend Tommy Tremble. We're kind of low in the tight end department, but he's a good receiver for him. But you did what you needed to do this offseason. And like I'm very proud of Dan Morgan and what he did. And I'm glad he spent money and brought Will Greer back just to be there. Just a North Carolina kid, just to come back home. But I'm really happy with this offseason they had.
All right, and now our biggest what do we call this section called? Our
Bold predictions. Like, yeah.
so let's
So
start with the first question on there. Our surprise playoff team. So what is your surprise playoff team?
my surprise playoff team, not one many people is expecting, and this could be crazy. I have the Titans. You get Cam Ward second. You see, it's crazy. It's hot. It's bold, but you get a revamped offensive line. You get Cam Ward weapons. He did it in college. You see the way he plays. He can play. New coaching staff. Wando Robinson is going to catch the ball. You throw him the ball, he's going to catch it. He gets open. You get Cornell Tate, who big body receiver. They still have Ridley, so that can be that. Their defense was never horrible, and they're going to be there. It's going to be okay. That division, you got teams like the Jags. You just never know. I'm not worried about the Colts. Like I said, worst off season. Not worried about them. Texans, if Stroud keeps going downhill, they're not going to be a good team, and their injuries will hurt them. But I have the Titans. What do you got?
All right, so I have the Saints not just making the playoffs, but winning the division. And I said making it look easy winning the division, having 3+ more wins than every other team in the division. I think they had a great offseason. And then I also think that their second year quarterback, Tyler, is going to have an amazing year. I think he's going to make it look easy winning the NFC South. So I'm excited to see him play this season, and I'm excited to see
Yeah.
the.
Unfortunately, yeah, they probably have the division.
So next up is the team that we believe will disappoint. So for this one, I put that the Patriots have a disappointing slump this year, after their Super Bowl appearance. But I also said, along with the Seahawks and the Broncos, that the only team that was in the championship round this year to make it next year will be the Rams. I think they're the only team that's going to return to that round. I think all three of those teams, Patriots, Seahawks, and Broncos, all have disappointing seasons. Broncos, I don't think Bo Nick's gonna have an amazing year after that injury. His leg looks rough if you've seen pictures online. Seahawks had a terrible offseason, and Patriots just have not done anything. And I think there's a lot of media surrounded him right now that's maybe a little bit unnecessary
Yeah.
about people and his lady, but we'll save that for maybe a different video. So, what do you think about the that?
Well, I'm between two teams. I have of course, the Seahawks, like you said, but I'm gonna cover the Giants. Giants, sure, they weren't a playoff team, but people have them because they got a new coach. You got Harbaugh. You got Dart. Dart's great. You bring in Isaiah Likely. You lose Wandale Robinson. You draft good, but people are high on this team because of Dart and a new coaching staff. But they have no identity still. They're still a year out from what I think they can be. But teams are high on them, saying like, "Oh, they could be a wild card. They can sneak in." I don't. I just don't see it.
I think people are super, super high on the Giants right now. I think you see so much about them in the media because
Yes.
they got a tough
But
quarterback.
the defense is great. Honestly,
Yeah,
top five,
yeah,
top three
and you
defense.
got an amazing coach, top five head coach in the league.
Yes, but they're just still a year out, in my opinion. They're
Yeah,
just
I agree.
got things to build on.
I agree. So next, your sleeper pick for a person with a new team that will have a breakout season.
I'm gonna have to say Wandale Robinson. Cam
Okay.
Ward got himself a weapon. Everybody's focused on Cornell Tate, but a little slot guy who had 1,000 yards in the Giants is gonna do it on the Titans. They're gonna scheme him open. They know what to do over there, and they're gonna scheme him open. Cam Ward in college was throwing to guys like that. He likes his slot guys. He had Xavier Restrepo in college, and Wanda Rob's the same play style. So I think he's going to look to hit him many times.
So mine I picked is Sidney Brown, and I made the hot take that Sidney Brown will be an All-Pro this season with the Falcons. I loved his play with the Eagles when he was on the field. I wish the Steelers could have got him for a sixth or seventh round pick that the Falcons got. I think Falcons got a stud there, unlocked talent. The Eagles just have so much talent that it's hard to see within
Yeah.
the guys. And I think the Falcons can unlock that. Jesse Bates is going to be there with him. I think that's a good little backfield. I think Sidney Brown's going to get more playing time in Atlanta, and I expect him to have a big season. So that's all we have for y'all for today's episode. Thank y'all so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, go watch
Yep.
our videos, and look out for some upcoming videos later this week. We've got some stuff planned, big stuff planned. So be looking.
Uh, Next episode, most likely going to be a draft recap or like schedule about the schedule and
Quarterback
then the
talk.
matchups we're excited for.
Some quarterback talk coming soon.
Yep.
Got quarterback talk. But yeah, this is season one officially, I think, of Pruett and Pressley.
Yep.
Um, so thank you guys. We hope to see y'all back next episode.